So you're in the gym doing 15 different bicep exercises, looking like a spaghetti noodle with weights. Meanwhile, this other dude is doing one exercise and he has arms like tree trunks? What is even going on here? Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along for a little while, then you know we're going to be getting into something pretty interesting. But if you're new here, don't worry, you're in the right place. Today we're going to be talking about that if you want bigger biceps, then you shouldn't be worrying about all these unnecessary exercises. There's this one movement that you should be focusing on, and here's why it works. There's so many different variations of curls that how do we even know what one is actually being productive? Well, if we actually look at where the biceps have the most leverage, then we can kind of figure out what exercise is best. We talk about leverage a lot in the fitness community, and especially on my page. In the last video, we talked about where the lower lats have the best leverage. So if you did miss that video, be sure to watch that and subscribe so you don't miss any other videos. But all leverage means is just what muscle contributes the most in a plane or exercise of movement. So all that is just what muscle is pulling the most or what muscle has the most leverage to pull in a exercise. We know that the biceps have the best leverage from 20 degrees to 70 degrees of elbow flexion. So we want to pick an exercise where it loads this in the best way, meaning that the exercise is heaviest between 20 to 70 degrees of elbow flexion. And in fancy words, we would be looking for a descending resistance profile. And all this means is that we want the weight or the resistance to be heaviest at the start and lightest at the end. An exercise that wouldn't fall into this category would be something like a spider curl because this has an ascending resistance profile, meaning it gets lighter at the start, or it is lighter at the start and continues to get heavier towards peak contraction. Exercises like these are fun to do and definitely have their time and place when we're just trying to enjoy our training, but when we're trying to be the most productive with our muscle growth, then we wouldn't want to waste our time on something like this when we can pick an exercise that fits all the categories and it's absolutely perfect for bicep growth. And the perfect exercise is a preacher curl, whether that's with a dumbbell or with a machine with some specific conditions. It's easy to see that the peak resistance is at the beginning in between that 20 to 70 degrees of elbow flexion for a dumbbell preacher curl. And this is just because we only have to worry about gravity in this case. But with the machine preacher curl, we have to check a few things to make sure that the peak resistance is at the start instead of at the end, and I'm going to show you how to do that. When you're looking at a preacher curl, you're going to see that there's this little round shape beside the pad, and this is called a cam. And all this does is determine the resistance profile of the preacher curl. Where to determine where it's hardest at is we're going to find where the axis of rotation is farthest from the cable between this cam. And so if it's farthest from each other at the beginning, then the lift is going to be hardest at the start. But if it's farthest from each other at the end, then you get it, it's going to be hardest at the end. Some preacher machines are adjustable, like mine. You can change where the resistance profile is, but some you're just stuck with what you get. And if you don't have a descending resistance profile like mine, then you can throw on some plates on the handle to make the lift heaviest at the start, or you can just do the curl from the portion of where the biceps have the best leverage. So stop around 70 degrees of elbow flexion just to train that area to failure. And this can kind of be a substitute or a way to just train the biceps in that where they have the best leverage, but it won't be as ideal as just a dumbbell preacher curl, which is a much easier option. All in all though, this is by far one of the best bicep exercises out there. And if you train consistently and get stronger each week, you're definitely going to grow. This pairs really well with upper, lower, or full body because of the low volume, high frequency split, and it's just one exercise, so it fits in perfectly. But if you do something like push-pull legs, you might need to add an additional exercise alongside a preacher curl for the best bang for your buck. Thanks for watching the whole video. I hope you learned something. If you did, be sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.